Ladies and gentlemen, I have some sad news to report today. The Red House Autonomous Zone in Portland was taken down, and, there will never be justice for those people from the Red House on Mississippi. It's just a sad thing, so if you would like to join me out there and taking a moment to bow your head in silence, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much. Now, before we get to this story, I want to tell you something. That family is crooked as shit. Yeah, no fucking doubt. Family at the center of the Red House protests owns second Portland home. Oops. Protest enters fourth day, and this was on December 11th. Yeah, as the Kinney family raises $280,000 to buy back the home that was so unjustly taken for them. Because they had to refinance that Red House in order to pay for legal defense fees for their son, who ran over an elderly man and an elderly woman and killed the elderly man. But you're not supposed to know that. And you're also not supposed to know the fact that that GoFundMe raised well over $300,000 at this point. And they also owned another house. So, what the fuck are we doing here? Huh? They're complaining about being persecuted. Oh, we're black. Oh, they're doing this just because they're racists. You failed to mention that you guys owned a second fucking property. And you couldn't pay on the first one, so it got repossessed. What are we talking about here? Okay? What are we talking about? But it doesn't much matter. Antifa wanted to fucking do some shitty shit in Portland, and Ted Wheeler at the time was going to let him, so fuck it. As a protest over the eviction of a North Portland family enters its fourth day, and it only lasted another 3 days, so it got a good solid week. Ugh. OPB has learned the Kinney family owns a second home in the city. The second home located in northeast Portland, less than 2 miles from where the protesters were camping. No wonder they could make it there to the protests every day and have, little press conferences. Has been owned by the family since 1966, according to property records. OPB visited the home Friday morning and confirmed the family is currently living there. The Kinney's son, Michael, answered the door at the second home and confirmed the family owned it, but has declined to answer questions like, yeah, we live here. You guys want to tell the other people out there that you own this house? Nah, man, we good. Fucking hilarious. Property records show the home is owned by Pauline Kinney, who alongside her husband William T.R. Kinney purchased both properties in the 50s and 60s. Pauline Kinney sold the Red House to her daughter Julie Kinney in 1995 for $20,000. Holy fuck, what a steal. Even though, as you can see right there on the screen, it's boarded up and looks like a little bit of a shithole, but regardless, in 95, $20,000 to get a detached house, that is some fucking nepotism at work. Julie Kinney's sons have helped lead the legal fight and protests to keep the Red House and the Kinney family ownership. The revelations adds another layer of complications to an already tense situation, which has seen protesters erecting reinforced street blockades around a home formerly owned by the Kinneys. Well, that's just not the case anymore. And after you know that they have all of that money and a second house, do you have sympathy for them? Anybody who's watching these videos probably didn't have any sympathy for him to begin with, but yeah, it's gone now. The fenced-off, booby-trapped autonomous zone in Oregon has finally been dismantled after Portland's mayor brokered a deal with the protesters and apologized to him. I think that's probably the number one arrow that he'd ever pull out of his quiver. It's kind of like the Justin Trudeau strategy of just absolutely not having a plan, pulling back on that bow, and then just going, sorry. We would consider that the limp-wristed sissy strategy. The Twitter handle for those leading, anything that has to do with Twitter is cancer. The protests at the Red House on Mississippi started calling for comrades to help take down these barricades Sunday night. Our work is not going unseen, the protesters tweeted. Yeah, well, it's going to go unremembered in a week's time. Hailing a deal between the city and the Kinneys, a black family whose eviction, and, not like they had to go fucking homeless, sparked the 3-block barricade covered in Antifa and anti-cop graffiti. The mayor has promised the Kinney family that they will not raid Red House as long as the barricades are taken down by Monday night, the group said. The autonomous zone was set up Tuesday. Yes, and we knew that, and we've seen all of the lovely fucking pictures where, adjacent houses were occupied and the residents that lived there legally were, terrified to leave their own property. But you know what, all in the good name of raising a bunch of money for criminals and harborers of those criminals and people that still had a place to live. I don't get it. Let's see what stupid fucking weakling Ted Wheeler has to say. He confirmed that a deal has been struck, though it was not clear if the house was being sold back to the Kinneys, probably for $20,000, and seems to be the going rate for such house. The family that was evicted after defaulting on a second mortgage taken out to pay relatives' legal fees, yes, for a hit and run. In the criminal case, Wheeler did, however, write to the family he wrote to apologize? Ew. I wonder if he circled where his tears were that fell on the fucking piece of paper. That sissy bitch. Fucking did his first draft in his little My Little Diary. For his own earlier tweet in which he authorized cops to use all lawful means to end the illegal occupation, I can understand that being upsetting to people who have never been told no in their life. We did not intend to attract attention that results in threats. We didn't want to drag attention to the fact that I'm allowing a fucking lawless zone in my own city to occur and not do anything about it, so we're sorry for raising attention at a national scale for this. What a bitch. Nobody should be subjected to this kind of stress and harm. Yes, the neighbors in that neighborhood. That is the only people that I care about. And we apologize for our role our tweets have played in this. Yes, do you want to apologize for calling elected officials leaders of the Third Reich? Nah, of course not. Oh, minorities. We get it. We get it, Ted. In a statement, Wheeler told the paper that with measured optimism, he hoped they could move towards the next step of what the fuck ever. My hope is he burns the house down and pisses the ashes out. But I'll compromise with you, Ted, because you probably have to squat over the ashes and let your pussy put it out. So, anyways, we, oddly enough, are not done with autonomous zones. I know what you're thinking. Where the fuck is Antifa also headquartered? Au contraire, mon frère. This is not an Antifa one. This is something in a heavily blue state as well, which is even fucking weirder. You know what? I'll just pull this up. Washington State town, defying COVID-19 shutdowns, hosts a massive rally. And they passed a city ordinance allowing all 30 local businesses to stay open. Like, okay, this little town, Mossyrock in Washington, 800 residents are there. They could give two shits about COVID. I love all 800 of those people for standing up and doing this, and especially Mayor Randall Sasser for, having the balls to fucking do something like this, because, hey, this is what I've been wanting forever. You know what? Just look after yourself. Look after those who are most vulnerable. If you want to make sure that everybody gets vaccinated, put up a queue, okay? The people who want it and the people who are most at risk. Don't punish the places where the fucking commie cough isn't, okay? Well, let's go into this. The tiny city, it would be a town, it's only 800 residents, of Mossyrock in Washington State, is refusing to comply with statewide COVID-19 shutdown orders recently passing a resolution to allow all 30 local businesses to stay open. Yay! The town's defiant stance saw far-right groups host a massive freedom rally. Yeah, oh, be afraid. People want freedom and a rally and a bunch of people that, just come along and say we're not going to stand for this tyrannical rule of our governor. That would make them far-right, right? Yeah, exactly. Just words that media outlets can throw around all stupidly when, they don't have to run cover for Antifa and Black Lives Matter. But when it's something done in the name of freedom, it's obviously those wicked far right. Oh, geez. You can see all 800 people, they had to take off their hoods just before the photo op. And they did this over the weekend. More than doubled the local population with no social distancing and nary a mask in sight, according to reports. As they were clutching their pearls, Mayor Randall Sasser, who should be awarded a Medal of Freedom, said when passing the measure late last month that he'd seen no data showing the local zip code had any cases or deaths. Exactly. Why the fuck should you lock down if there are no cases? Okay? That would be extra stupid. This dude is just looking at the science and making an educated decision, and argued that suicides and economic devastation are greater threat in their neck of the woods. Oh my god. This dude is based as shit. You know what, hey, if you want to come up here and look after a city that's several times the size and orders of magnitude larger than Mossyrock, there's a place up here for you, my dude. When we look at the shutdowns and everything that's happening, and there's no data to say that Mossyrock area 98564 zip code has any cases or deaths, and why should we suffer as a city and as citizens following the governor's mandate? He told the radio station he was giving the interview late last month. This dude is fucking great. The rally, organized by Patriot Prayer. Oh, yes, those people who like the Constitution and engage in all of that far-right terrorism, like getting shot dead in the streets in Portland. Brought about 1,000 people into the town, according to Saturday. Oh, it was the super spreader event. Members of the group stood guard at local businesses that remained open despite the state's orders, which ban indoor dining and set strict social distancing restrictions. The crowd denounced Washington Governor Jay Inslee. Oh, I'm sorry. Bitch Inslee, as a dictator for ordering the lockdown in the first place, saying that if Mossyrock's handful of businesses shut down, the town's tourism-based economy will go in the tank. Yeah, and if there's no threat, then why the fuck are they closing down? Oh, you can still transmit the disease even if you aren't showing symptoms. We get it. You just want people to be scared. But Randy Sasser and the fine people of Mossyrock ain't taking your shit, Jay. They ain't buying into your hysteria, and you'll love to see it. So we covered autonomous zones. We've covered Antifa. And we're kind of missing one very integral part to this, because whenever an autonomous zone gets set up, Antifa's always there, and they always have their compatriots off to the side. You know who I'm talking about? Black Lives Matter. And we could all see that they were just being used as useful idiots for the Democrats leading up to the election, causing all of those fucking riots. And the media was ever so eager to blame all of the violence on, oh, this is Donald Trump's America. No, it's blue governors and blue mayors not fucking doing their job. And it was so obvious when, the day or the night after the election, Kate Brown, and she's the governor of Oregon, and Ted Wheeler finally called in the National Guard to clear out the riots that were happening in Portland. Yeah, very obvious. Same thing happened in Washington, D.C. Muriel Bowser finally called in the National Guard as well, and she's, let me guess, a Democrat, of course. But now that everybody's saying that Biden has won, even though that we've been over the fact that the only date that really matters is January 20th and probably January 6th when the Electoral College actually casts their votes. But Biden's already won. Okay, let's just put that out there. Let's just say, okay, Biden's won. He's going to be the next president. Blah, 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 blah. He'll definitely survive to the end of his first term. But you know what's not going to survive to the end of his first term? Black Lives Matter. Because they were conspicuous in their absence when Joe Biden held a secretive, or at least a down-low meeting of civil rights leaders. Because, okay, all of the fucking heavy hitters were there. And by heavy hitters, I mean grifters in chief. President-elect Joe Biden had a contentious discussion about executive power, police reform, and his cabinet appointments in a call with civil rights leaders on Tuesday, according to leaked audio excerpts of the call published by The Intercept, formerly Glenn Greenwald's outlet, but they are Joe Biden nut huggers, so this is a little bit odd. I'm sure that they tried to spin it as something that was nothing to see here, folks. So the civil rights leaders on the call included Reverend Al Sharpton, because, yay, he gets to come back to the White House and have an influence. Ugh. If you guys want to break down on his history and you aren't quite sure about that, I could definitely do a video on him, because there are very few people who are less credible and bigger grifters in the world than Al Sharpton. And the NAACP's Sherilyn Ifill, whatever. Did she take over for sex offender Kwame Brown? I can't remember. Or Kwame Nfume, sorry. Kwame Brown is a failed NFL prospect. My bad. Oh, Kwesi Nfume. Fucking Christ, I got everybody's name wrong. Pressed Biden to use executive orders to institute sweeping reforms, create commissions, and launch investigations to further the cause of civil rights. What do you want? You guys have all the fucking rights. Everything is equal. Oh, I just got it. You guys want special treatment. That's what it is. Duh. But Biden said he would not test the legal bounds of executive action and use it in lieu of legislation, stating, I am not going to violate the Constitution. I got other people to do that for me, and arguing unfettered. Oh my God, that's oof. I haven't had a good laugh like that in a while. Use of executive orders can set a dangerous precedent for future administrations. Yeah, your former boss did quite a doozy. Biden instead played up his legislative bona fides, fiercely asserting, I do not carry around a stamp on my head saying progressive, and I'm not a, oh my God, but I am more of a record of getting things done in the United States Congress than anybody you know, or could remember, or have textbooks written about them. To be completely fair, he's had more opportunities to work with both sides than anybody else, considering, well, As he has stated, he's worked in the Senate for 180 years, so. But it's very damning to say that he is not a progressive and he is not AOC. Commence the Democratic Civil War. As if the GOP isn't going to fucking burn down in a hilarious disaster after Mitch McConnell being a fucking bitch today. It's almost like they just want to go back to business as usual. Fucking turtle, man. Never trust that neocon. Biden also advocates turning down the rhetoric on police reform ahead of the Senate runoffs in Georgia, which he's also going to be down there campaigning for, because I know Trump's going to do a couple more rallies before the January 5th runoff. Well, at least I think he is, but Biden's definitely going to go down there and do another rally, because God knows those were always a source of inspiration and not drop-dead comedy, the likes of which we haven't seen since the passing of George Carlin. Ooh. Arguing the GOP beat the living hell out of us, man, during the election with the defund the police movement. Now you can see why Black Lives Matter wasn't there. NAACP CEO Derek Johnson, great linebacker for the Kansas City Chiefs, cautioned Biden against picking Tom Vislak to replace his role as Secretary of Agriculture. To reprise his role as Secretary of Agriculture, as nomination announced Thursday, pointing to Vislak's widely criticized firing of Georgia Director of Rural Development Shirley Sherrod in 2010. Holy fuck. Do you think people have that kind of a fucking memory for a minuscule position like Secretary of Agriculture? Over out-of-context remarks as an example of how his appointment could hurt Democrats with black voters in Georgia. Oh, it doesn't matter. We just fucking we just install our machines and they just let us win. Let's get something straight. You shouldn't be disappointed, Biden said of complaints about his cabinet, claiming he has done more than anybody else has done so far. Oh my God, he's even going to start plagiarizing Trump by saying that he's done more for the black community than potentially since Abraham Lincoln. To bring diversity to his incoming administration. Hey, guess what, Joe? It's never going to be enough. You want to play this game, you are going to die by this game. If something else won't already get you. I'm just saying, just wait for little sounds of high heels and the jingling of a charm bracelet and a certain little cackle whenever you approach a flight of stairs. I'm just saying, watch your back, Joe. Oh, this is interesting. We don't care about throwing fists in the air and the symbols. We want the substance. The Joe Biden I know is substance. The Kamala Harris I know is substance, Sharpton said, an MSNBC host. Yeah, I can't believe he actually has a fucking, I think it's on Sunday morning show, but yeah. Who watches MSNBC anyways? Who watches cable news anyways? The only time that that's relevant is when people are shitting on it. We need it now more than ever, and I would hope on the first day you start doing things at your executive orders to restore some dignity to law enforcement in our community and to voting. Al Sharpton's calling for restored dignity to law enforcement? Man, now you can see definitely why Black Lives Matter is fucking pissed. Black Lives Matter accuses Biden of ignoring them. It's demeaning to our hurt and trauma. Listen to our truth, guys. Our truth. Black Lives Matter accused President-elect Joe Biden of ignoring their requests for a meeting and disregarding black votes that helped secure his White House victory. Oh, really? Oh, really? Those people who were out there burning and breaking shit were in the ballot box also voting at the same time? I fucking highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. You were all disenfranchised fucking Bernie bros. Suck a dick. Or a feminine dick, whatever you want. We don't judge over here. Whatever your pronouns are, feel free. Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris haven't responded to requests of the post-election conversation and even excluded Black Lives Matter from recent meetings with civil rights groups, according to the group. For the newly elected administration that ran on a promise of racial justice. Oh, really? Because they ran on a bunch of things, but these are old school politicians and they aren't actually going to fucking follow through on any of this shit. Are you kidding me? Come on now. They're just going to do whatever is easiest. It's just going to go back to the fucking malaise of business as usual, and you guys are just going to be fucking begging for change like you would have had with President Trump. Listen, I'm still holding out hope. I still want to see all of these legal challenges for Trump to go through, and I want to see it to the end. But I'm also setting up for 4 years of being on the outs, and what that means is not great for people like me and people who have my opinions, but I'll be ready either way. Anyways, yeah, they're ignoring our ongoing request to meet with them and refuse us to seat us at the table. Uh-oh. Well, he's so old, he's probably just thinking that you're the help. To our movement, Black Lives Matter Global Network said in an email to support on Thursday in urging activists to make noise. They're good at that. It's demeaning to our hurt and trauma. What does that mean? It's demeaning to our countless times we took our protests to the streets to call for justice for our black brothers and sisters taken us at the hands of police. But what about non-binaries? You guys are just transphobic. I can't believe this stuff. If I would have got this email, I would have been so upset. So upset. The Biden transition team did not immediately respond to a request for comment, and I think their lack of a comment is a comment in and of itself. Thanks for your help, but we'll see you in 4 years. Just foment all that rage, and we'll just make sure that we'll call you when you need the help. And just to show you how influential they would have been in the election here, this is very telling. Patrisse Cullors. Why is she degrading that great first name? Black Lives Matter co-founder and avowed Marxist, by the way. Never forget. Sent Biden and Harris a request for a meeting on November 7th to talk of an agenda to address systemic racism and got support from 64,000 backers. I'm sure that made all the fucking difference. That's not even enough to make up all of the difference in Arizona, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. I think that covers it. Maybe Nevada. Maybe. But yeah, Antifa is getting pushed back. Autonomous zones are getting set up by the right now, or just people who are patriots and like freedom. And Black Lives Matter is getting tossed to the curb because they've outlived their usefulness. So, joke's on you guys. There's a bunch of people out there that said, I wouldn't have voted for Biden if I knew he was for lockdowns. I don't know, fucking open your ears. That's why I'm fairly loud in saying that Democrats prey on the people who adhere to the mainstream media, who adhere to their news gathering on Twitter, who don't seek out the original sources. They prey on people who have short attention spans and can only fill their heads with catchy slogans. Okay, yes, does the right have Make America Great Again? Yes, but we can also tell you the list of things that Trump has done. But then on the other side, what do you got? I'm going to be a president for all Americans. Oh, okay, good. Hey, Joe Biden, 6 months ago you said you were against fracking. Yeah, but I'm not now. Oh, okay. But the only reason why he didn't offer Antifa a seat at the table for civil rights is because he still thinks that they're a myth. Anyways, guys, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.